Micheál Conneff here. I've been a member of the Eadestown club for the last 20 odd years. Originally from Clane, played a bit of football with Clane and then moved up to Eadestown. I've been involved sort of at committee level and underage coaching level, and even involved with the senior team a bit over the last number of years. So just as regards what Richie's doing this year, it's a fantastic initiative, and I just thought that I'd put something together on our road to Division 1. So I'm just going to go through. It's just sort of some of a brief summary and the highlights that were, and then just sort of something to mark the event and something to have going forward. So road to Division 1. So following the massive impact of COVID-19 on our games in 2020, everyone was looking forward optimistically to 2021 being a better year on our GA pitches. Eadestown's senior team have continued to gradually improve and cement their place at the top level following their great victory at intermediate level in 2014. The improvement is due in no small way to the introduction of players from our successful underage ranks over the past number of years, and a large portion of the current panel were either running around in nappies or weren't even born when the club last competed in Division 1 of the league in the late 1990s. Manager Lee McLaughlin was a key member of that senior team back then, and indeed most of his backroom team, excellent backroom team that he's put together over the past number of years, have a long association with the club. Robbie Jemison and Frank Glynn both represented the club in the 90s, and all mentors, including the three named above, have put in fantastic work at coaching and administration level over many years. Dermot McCarthy is an ex-chairman and has worked with several underage teams, while Tommy Dillon unfortunately incurred a career-ending injury at a very young age, but that hasn't prevented Tommy from giving his heart and soul over many years to many teams. Our statman John Dowling is also an ex-player, and Siobhan O'Sullivan, who is responsible for physical preparation of the team, has had a massive boost to the ladies team since her arrival from Sligo. One of the team's main targets for 2021 was to try and reach Division 1, and first up was a game away to Kilcock on June the 12th. Things unfortunately didn't go according to plan, and Kilcock had scored 2 goals with less than 5 minutes on the clock, and the team never recovered from that at all, and were soundly beaten on a scoreline of 2-15 to 1-9. The goal was a late goal from Horry Tui, and it just helped to slightly mask the extent of the defeat. So really anyone that was suggesting or thinking that on that Saturday evening that we might still reach Division 1 would probably be whisked away by the men in the white coats. So next up was a recovery mission on June 21st, and there was a crucial home match against Leixlip. Unfortunately, the team's performance was massively improved. Again, we conceded a really early goal, but the lads battled back and emerged winners on a scoreline of 1-14 to 2-10 on a fantastic game that would ding dong right up to the end. The game that finished up with a Keane Bolton free, which was far from a gimme, and it was a really pressurised kick, and fair play to Keane for putting it away. A week later we travelled to Conneff Park to play competition favourites Clane, and despite being extremely short on personnel, the lads once again put in a brilliant performance and in a really entertaining match. Eadestown were the better side throughout, but unfortunately conceded a really late goal to find themselves a point down with time almost up. Thankfully that man, Keane Bolton, once again nailed a late equaliser, and to gain the team a draw, so the final score of 2-12 to 3-9 for Clane. We were now into the section where we had to play games on a Wednesday and Saturday, so things were really warming up and getting busy. So first up was an away trip to Ballyteague, who were struggling after the first few games. This was a game that Eadestown dominated from start to finish and emerged comfortable winners despite the concession of 3 goals and a final score of 123 to 3-6. This put the team in a positive frame of mind for their home game against their neighbours and familiar rival Sallins 3 days later. The lads produced a blistering display and rattled the net 4 times before the whistle even blew for the half-time break. There was no let up in the second half either, with scores being popped over, points from all angles, to leave the result at the end Eadestown 4-16 to Sallins 13 points. And remarkably, there was only 1 score of that, the rest were from play, and 1 score from a free. The next we welcomed a really tough opposition in Clotterinca on the following Wednesday. and it was actually another cracking game with plenty of intensity and disputed decisions and even some questionable umpire decisions. The vital result at the end was of a great night's entertainment, a 114 to 16 points for the boys in blue, and the crucial score being a superb goal from Jack Sargent following some brilliant build-up play involving Conneff. Now we're really on a roll and looking head to another home game with table toppers Monastrevan, who are leaving nothing to chance by arriving almost 90 minutes before the throw-in. This preparation paid off as they started the game on fire, and Eadestown were lucky to be only 4 points down in the first quarter when they conceded a penalty, which was thankfully brilliantly saved by Aaron Lawler. A 6-point deficit at that early stage would have been very, very difficult to come back from, but thankfully that didn't occur. From that point onwards, we really got the grips with Monastrevan, and in the end, we sort of pulled clear to win on a very flattering scoreline of 2-9 to 10 points. Remarkably, at this stage, we were now in a position to secure promotion with a game to spare if we could manage a victory over near neighbours 2 Mile House. This scenario also required favourites Clane to get a result against Monastrevan, which was happening on the same evening. 2 Mile House were themselves still in a strong position to finish in the top 2, and they had to secure a win over Eadestown to retain any hope of doing so, and they certainly were in no mood to make life easy for us. The game was played on Saturday, July the 21st, on another scorching evening which had become the norm during our mini heatwave. The game turned out to be another cracker, which with a scoreline of 3-13 to 3-12 in favour of Eadestown clearly demonstrates. The crucial score was a late goal from Ryan Boron, who wasn't long on the field, having earlier that day played a full championship game with Kildare hurlers. News soon filtered through that Clane had defeated Monastrevan, which had secured promotion for the club, for the town, and happy days all round for the mentors and supporters. So our final game was a home game against Maynooth. It was a strange game in that it was a must-win for Maynooth, and if they were to avoid relegation for the second successive season, having come down from Division 1 last year. But for Eadestown, it was of no real consequences. They were looking forward to a league final date with Clane, regardless of the result. The game ended in a victory for Maynooth on the final result of 111 to 17 points, with Eadestown squandering at least 2 clear goal chances and also missing a penalty in the last 5 minutes. So the final of the league against Clane took place on Friday, July the 30th in St Conneff. The first half was a really tight game, Clane looking slightly the stronger team, and we're really happy to win at half-time level at 6 points each. Eadestown had the benefit of a slight breeze in the second half, and thankfully made scores a little easier to convert. Gradually we assumed control, and late in the final quarter I built up a 4-point lead when our captain Pat O'Sullivan found himself in on goal, and despite it was probably not his finest ever attempt on goal, his shot somehow found the bottom corner of the net to give the town an unassailable lead. The final result was 116 to 10 points. Pat's next duty was to climb up the steps to collect the trophy and finish off a great and most enjoyable 2 months' work by all involved. The achievement was more remarkable for 2 reasons, in that not once did we have the final squad available for selection, and secondly that the lads came out on the right side of 3 one-point games and also a crucial draw in the first away game against Clane. The importance of having a good squad demonstrated by the fact that we used 26 players over the course of the league. So now I'm just going to go through a brief player report summarising how the lads have got on through the campaign. So we used 2 keepers. The first was Mark Murphy, who has been a great servant for over the past number of years, and he played the first game against Kilcock. Aaron Lawler came in to make his debut. He's only aged 20 against Leixlip, and following a nervy start, Aaron grew in confidence, has been 100% present ever since, and has had a brilliant season. Ronan Slattery, who was a Leinster Minor Medal Kildare winner in 2015, has now established himself as a swashbuckling full-back. Ronnie is far from a conventional full-back and reads the game superbly, and loves to sally forward for the odd score. More than any other player on the course of, it causes many palpitations for his managers and supporters, He's playing on the edge style. Dillon has been on the scene for the past couple of years, and after a slow start, he has continued to improve throughout the campaign and has almost been ever present in the defence. Darragh goes about his business very, very quietly and is an important link player. Adam Simons has been around the senior team for the past number of years, since making his breakthrough as part of the championship winning team in 2014. Adam has been ever present also this year and is very similar to Darragh in that he keeps things very simple, defends well and links play really, really well. Emmett Bolton needs no introduction and has had a wonderful career at club and inter-county level, and he continues to have a massive influence on this team since his recent retirement from the county scene. Emmett missed the first few games due to his involvement with Kildare under-20 management team, but has been around since to help tighten up the defence and still managed to get forward for the odd score. Great for him to get another piece of silverware with the club. Owen Woods is another lad who has burst onto the scene as a youngster in 2014 and was a wing back on that winning team. This year has probably been his best year since, and since he's been really one of the standout players, and his superb defending and electric pace allows him to get forward and sets the attack in motion. Owen Cummins, another guy in his mid-20s, and has been an underage experience with Kildare and has been a part of the Kildare squads for the past few years. Owen is a superb defender who brings that edge of steel to every game, and at the end of most game he appears as if he's been through in a war zone, because he's always bandaged up or carrying some sort of an injury. John Lawler is another 20-year-old who has played over the last few years with Kildare under-20 team. John has been very unfortunate in 2021. He's missed most of the league, firstly due to a damaged hamstring and secondly to a heavy concussion. Jack Sarge is another guy who's on the Kildare under-20s last year and has actually stepped forward to become a member of the Kildare senior panel this year, which has meant he's been unavailable for quite a few games of our league run. Jack demonstrates in all games he does play, however, how much he has missed. And he's a top-class player with incredible balance and stamina, and he rarely finishes a game without getting forward to tag on a couple of scores. Conan Bourne is another young defender who played on both the Kildare under-20 and hurling and football teams this year, with the result that he did not get to see him nearly as much as we would have liked. Pat O'Sullivan, who we spoke about earlier, is the club captain, and the Kerry native has reached the twilight of his career. His game time is limited due to injuries, but his contribution to the whole setup has been really positive, and his goal described earlier was the icing on the cake that day. His younger brother Sean has joined over the last couple of years, and he helps out around the midfield there and played most games in the league. His natural defensive approach and excellent work rate really helped to tighten up that area of the team. Niall Cummins is the younger brother of Owen, and he's also played in the midfield area in most games. Niall has thankfully recovered from a serious leg injury which sidelined him for all of last year. He's a joy to watch with his superb fielding ability, excellent distribution from hand and foot, and his little comments off the pitch are always very enjoyable as well. Ryan Bourne is the older brother of Conan, and he's still only 21, and he's also used around the middle of the pitch. His game time has been limited because he's so involved with Kildare, Naas hurlers and Kildare hurlers. But whenever we're lucky enough to have him, we really see the benefit of because he's a huge fitness level and he's brilliant power and mobility, and he's a nightmare for the opposition. Ryan is also a constant threat with his keen eye for goal and the odd point. So Pádraig Toohey is 22-year-old and is another with lots of inter-county underage experience, and is a stereotypical modern-day creative wing forward. He's got exceptional ball carrying, and this combined with his brilliant work rate and scoring threat is a nightmare for the opposition defenders. Keane Bolton has been the main focal point for Eadestown attack over the last 7 or 8 years, and his scoring rate has been exceptional throughout this period. Probably one of the main secrets of our success this year has been the emergence of support players to assist Keane in this area. but he still contributed hugely to the overall success of the team. I know all the players make a huge commitments, but I feel it necessary to mention in this that we played 2 games against Clogher and Monasterevin, 2 crucial games in the space of 4 days. Keane was in holidays in Mayo at the time, and he did 2 return trips from Belmullet and 1 from Achill, and he in totally travelled probably 1,000 kilometres that week, and it's a measure of the commitment that he gives and that all the team have given. So Conneff is another 20-year-old who has been with the Kildare underage teams for the past number of years, and he played in all the games, putting in some incredible performances. Owen was the team's top scorer from play and was also involved in the build-up to many scores. His best performance came in the 3 games, tight games in the middle of the league campaign against Monasterevin, Clogher and Toonwell House, where he scored an average of 6 points per game from play. Aidan Cassidy is another from our under-20 group, and he's also got some Kildare underage experience. Aidan was out all of last 2 years with a problem with his knee, but thankfully he's come back and had a brilliant impact on a superb campaign. He probably was introduced to the team a bit earlier than because of his injuries, but he has adapted really quickly at this level, which is no surprise given his undoubted natural potential and natural forward instinct. Owen Doyle is yet another lad born in 2000, and he's been mainly on the edge of the square for his massive height advantage and ability to lay off intelligent passes. Owen has been really effective when moved out the field also, and he also shares the free kick duties with Keane. Owen's got some crucial scores throughout the campaign. Conor McCarthy is now in his mid-20s and has developed into a key forward over the past few years. Conor unfortunately suffered a hamstring injury in the very first match against Kilcock, and he subsequently missed most of the league, but was introduced from the bench in the last few games in the league, and in the league final in particular against Clane he was hugely impressive, coming on the second half, and was the main reasons the game turned in our favour. Johnny Dean, 23, and Keane Malone, 26, have also been involved with the senior team for the past number of years and are both key members of the panel. Their game time has been curtailed somewhat by the arrival of all the younger brigade, but they still have made vital contributions whenever called upon.